Hi everybody, welcome to my presentation on maternal familism and well-being. It is based on the article Maternal Familism Predicts Birth Weight and Asthma Symptoms 3 Years Later from the Journal of Social Science and Medicine. The premise of this article was to test culture as a predictor of intergenerational health processes. One of the big terms they talk about a lot is familism, which basically is a term to discuss culture and how important it is in the family in terms of taking care of one another and the kind of ideals that one would find in one's family. The way you define it and how important it is differs among different ethnicities. The theory behind this is that familism is a function of high lifespan family socioeconomic position. Therefore, it was hypothesized that it would be higher among white Americans and lower for African Americans and Latinos. So looking at this slide, we can just look a little bit at some of the methods that they were testing in this study. Basically, what they did was at the start of the study, they tested all of these method factors on the child and the family, and then they tested the child again at age 1 and age 3 to figure out what their birth weight was and their asthma symptoms at those times. So the next slide that's going to come up is just a results slide. It's the graph that is in the actual original report. Basically, it's looking at asthma symptoms at age 3 for 3 different birth weights and 5 different ethnicities. So we have all U.S. born, foreign born, African American, European American, and Latino. Two things that I found particularly interesting in this article were the concept of independence versus interdependence and how those different people responded to questions about familism and in the face of some of these health problems. Also, I was wondering how divorce influences familism. Does it change the way that you see a family and how you approach some of those problems? Finally, I thought it would definitely be interesting to do some follow-up studies on this article, definitely including familism and divorce and how those do interact a little bit deeper, and also just to see a little bit more about what it actually is about familism that makes these kinds of issues just that much less likely. Thank you guys for watching my presentation, and just to close it out, here are my discussion questions. Does living in the United States have the ability to wash out culture? How has the idea of family changed in the last 50 years, thus influencing familism? And does one's definition of family change depending on one's life circumstances? For example, if someone is divorced, if someone has kids and then gets married later, how do those things change what we think of as a family?